Go ahead, guys.
How'd you come out of that game injury-wise? Because certainly, like Nick McCabe didn't go. It seemed like maybe there's a few guys that came out of that game dinged up.
Yeah, Jaden Scott is questionable, and he's probably the only one that I would. I mean, we've got our guys that we'll still have to heal up this week, but he was probably the only one that I'd probably put in the questionable mode right now.
What would you put on Isaiah playing this weekend?
Oh, I'd put him in the questionable to doubtful.
Have you heard anything in terms of just how that's progressing? His
Yeah, he's progressing, and there's a lot of guys progressing. You got you got Deion McShane, you got Bradley Moore, you've got Isaiah Weston. They're all progressing. I mean, they're all getting. They're getting there. They're close enough that you can start putting them in a questionable category, but you can't do that with some of these guys because they're too far away yet. So, but I hate to rate them right now because I don't even know if I'm just trying to give you a little bit of vibe what I get. So, but I don't think that's very helpful. So, it hasn't helped me. So I don't know if it helps you.
Let me say, sorry to stick on this, but Tyler Husman, he had that surgery 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and when he had that, it was 2 to 3 weeks. Is he still maybe another week?
Yeah, he's another week. You won't see Tyler Husman this week.
did you have any sort of conversation with Will after his game?
No, Will had a tough. Will didn't play that well, and he ran the ball more than probably what he had done in the past, and then when he didn't, he was good in the passing game we had set up for him, and then losing Weston and the tight ends and some of the things that we had to do. I put it more on the coaches that we probably could have cleaned it up better for Will to give him a better opportunity. You can't expect a freshman to be able to adjust everything as much as what's going on right now, particularly on offensive personnel. So we have to play within his strength of the game and keep playing to his ability and not worry about who those other people are. Like when we put Logan Wolf in, I thought he did a nice job. I thought Sam Snee did a nice job of doing what we do with the players that we have. Even Alex Allen went in there and did a nice job at tight end, playing our offense, doing what we do every day. So if we continue to do that, that'll be more stabilizing for him than trying to do something different because you lost a couple players along the way.
You knew this would be an important game no matter what, but does it feel like this game this Saturday maybe carries just a little more importance now because of what happened this last weekend?
I don't get into that. They're all the same to me. Last week was just as important as the previous week as this week. So, we go about business the same way, and it doesn't matter who we play. But last week was big because that was a game we could have had, and going on the road and doing all that stuff, that wasn't even the factor. It was just the only thing disappointing about that football game was when in the second half, we were in good shape at 7-0, and we were actually in good shape at 17-7, and at the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and all those things were playing out. It was the fumble, that cost us the touchdown right there. That was kind of the one that swung momentum, and then you try to get creative because you knew the style of offense they were playing, which was killing the clock, and they were going slow. So then you had to try to you had to kind of get out of your element to make some things happen. And that was that phase of the game that you wish you had back. But you got to. We went in there to win the football game, and we had 17-7 after we scored that touchdown. We had a lot of momentum, and I think we were 3-and-out on defense. And then when we went out and fumbled for a touchdown, that kind of swung the momentum back in their favor for the rest of the day. So, you go in there and, we do. Everybody was looking for Isaiah Weston. I was looking for some other players too, because we just got to move on. And fortunately, we're going to get the guy back. And it's just that in that particular game, we actually played. If you watched the guys on film, I thought Wolf, you wouldn't have known he was a freshman. I thought he did a very nice job. And maybe because of the timing, we went after some deep balls and left them long instead of short. But, he's used to throwing to Isaiah too, so it makes a difference. So a little bit on Will, a little bit on the system and the coaches, a little bit of everything, and it just kind of ended up resulting in the game that we had. So we'll get ready. We'll find out first who the personnel is, and then after that, go from there. But I'm even going to go to defense. Where the defense has to be able to get us through those situations like it has most of the season. But that drive in the second half is what I'd put on the defense too. I mean, it wasn't just offense, wasn't just will. It was we didn't need to let them drive that field in that particular situation, and they did a nice job. They kind of changed what they were calling, how they were calling it, and I think they threw multiple passes in a row, and I think that kind of we should have made an adjustment right there. So that's more on me that we didn't make a quicker adjustment than what we did, and so it was a complete result of what we didn't make the adjustments for.
What's your starting point on Western Illinois?
They're same as what they were. I'd say they're the same as last year as far as what they run on offense. They run a lot of the speed sweeps and the things like that all the time on offense. And defensively, they started out in a 4-man front, and then they'll jump into a 3-man front as well. So they go back and forth between 4-man fronts and 3-man fronts, similar to what we do.
When you mentioned the defensive adjustments you were just talking about there, is that perhaps related to after Strong went out, they maybe changed up what they were doing a little bit, and then you guys maybe needed to change to that? Is that kind of what you're getting at there?
No, not so much that. They probably put more in the quarterback passing than what they had in the past, and they had a very controlled passing game. I mean, it was max protection and throw the football, and but we didn't make a good enough adjustment in that phase of the game because he went 15 for 16, and I think it's something like that. So when you do that well, one, it was a good plan on their part, but two, we didn't make the correct adjustment to get in a better position to make some of those plays.
A strong group of seniors be playing their last game. And, a lot of them have played 3 or 4 years. When you look at Jalen James and Trevor Allen and, maybe Seth Thomas. So what do those guys have meant to you, and what's this kind of week like for them?
Well, they're just the two that you just mentioned there. I'd have to go back. I didn't even look at the list coming in there. I haven't even thought about senior day in that regard yet. But when you mention Trevor Allen and Jalen James, I mean that's like mentioning family because they've been around for so long, and their dads and their brothers and those names have been a part of our program for multitude of years. So it's not just another senior walking out the door. It's kind of a generation of families is kind of completed their turn here. So those guys have meant a lot, and there's multiple seniors down there. Jackson Scott Brown is probably the all-time guy that started more games here than any other football player probably at UNI is Jackson Scott Brown. So you throw him into the mix, and I'd even have to go back and find that list of who all these seniors are, to be honest with you. But I know they're guys that have meant a lot and played a lot of football here.
On senior day, does maybe a Jalen James bug you to run a reverse pass, or Jackson Scott Brown wants to be a fullback at the goal line?
No, they do that every day. But what they do is they're what's great about them is they're always in tune to how we do stuff, and they kind of lead that charge in how we do stuff. And Jackson is, even Jackson, Trevor, and Jalen really stand out to me in that regard because I just talked to Trevor, and what he's going through and playing through what he's going through is tremendous for him, but he doesn't blink an eye doing it. And then, what Jalen and Jackson do, Jackson every day at practice, what he tries to bring to the entire football team to get ready for football games. He talks and acts like a coach in the locker room. And so those guys carry a lot of responsibility because they know the culture and how we do stuff around here. So they carry not just a position with them, they carry a culture with them, and that makes a big difference of who they are and who we are.
Going into this last game, we know physically pretty banged up, but where do you think your team's at mentally going into game 12?
I think it's it's a good question, meaning can't say I got a great answer. I'm not concerned because I just know that how we act when when we don't win a football game. I know that because we're all about every game, and so yeah, they'll come in here in tune what's going on. We took yesterday off, so today we go back to work today. So no, sometimes when you get beat, you got to kind of get away from each other for 24 hours to kind of figure out what needs to be done and what we need to do to get back and kind of get the real world involved instead of the emotional world on this whole thing. And we wanted that football game the other day, so it was. They'll be in tune to go to work again this week, no matter who we play.
Coach, last negative question, or negative sort, just a tweet I saw yesterday. Where's Jacob Keller? Said something about he opened his recruitment. Is he in the transfer portal? Has he come to talk to you?
He is. He actually was in the transfer portal probably for the last month or so. Okay, but being the position, and he talked to me about it. I talked to his folks. Being the position that he plays, I mean, I get it because it's one of those deals that's the way, and that's how the rules stand, and even at his position makes it very. It's even more different at his position because there's only one guy on the field, and usually that's the first position that gets moved around a lot. So, no, I've talked about it with him over a month ago.
So he's gonna stay through the year, and he's gonna be there every day for you guys.
That's my understanding, unless he's changed since I've talked to him last.
Just the tweet said his recruitment was open.
Yeah, no, I knew about it probably a month ago, and even when I talked to him then, I'm going, I'll help you. You know, do what you do. He takes all our reps out here to get ready to play. So, you know, it's the position that he's in, and it gives him an option to go out and look and see what's out there for him. Because again, he plays positions that very, very unique. Okay, that there's only one, and then Will's playing here. So, you know, I can see it. So, if I understand it, then I try to help him.
Coach, I'm not second guessing you here. I'm just wondering the thought process. As important as Will McElvain is to this team and what you still have to play for moving forward, 31-7, 5 minutes left in the game, you get the ball back. Will goes back out at quarterback. What's the thought process of maybe not rolling another quarterback out there for a series, if nothing else, to protect Will, knowing how valuable that guy is moving forward?
Well, the flip side of that coin is we can all second guess and look at it that way. But my first instinct would be, I've got a freshman quarterback who's done very well, and if I take that away from him in that particular game, I'm concerned with, he's still growing too as a player. So I don't know. Those things don't affect me. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out more so how it affects them. And right now, Will has to, we all have had a bad game. And if you get fired after a bad game, how are you going to come back on Monday, like you said? So he's our starting quarterback, and there was no doubt about that. So I don't know why I would have taken him out, because that's not how I roll. It's what we do. So could I take him out 31-7? Yeah, but I think we were just handing it off at that time anyway, weren't we? So I can't remember what we were doing at that time.
Jackson Scott Brown, and I've had my notes at home, I forget, but it's going to be something like his 46th consecutive start here. That's just incredible for an offensive lineman. We've talked about it a little bit this year. What has he meant to that offensive line group and his I guess, fatherhood of that line?
No, he came in here and played as a true freshman, and he did a nice job. He learned from a lot of guys, and probably more so the guys that he is. What he brings is he kind of took with him and has with him all the lineage of the guys before him. I mean, whether it was Twait he dates back to some serious guys that kind of passed the offensive line culture, if you will, to the next guy. So he's been a huge part of that whole thing. And he's been the guy that over the last few summers that has kind of led the charge with offensive linemen doing the extra work. I mean, he brought Twait along. And then actually Twait and Jackson brought Spencer along. So as you bring one into the fold, somebody got to take them underneath their wing to do the extra things in the off season, become a great offensive lineman. Because again, unique position. You become a lineman by what you do in the off season, not by what you do during the season. It's the off season that you have to do the extra time. And I think that's something that he's kind of really brought to the table of teaching the next guy what you actually have to do in the off season. And then even as you watch practice today, I'm guessing he'll be the last one off the field like he always is. He goes to his extra, whether he's running or hitting sleds, because it probably has kept him in condition and kept him out of the training room a lot because of what he's done extra, to take care of himself too. Anybody else?